Hello again. It is increasingly being suggested that the so-called triple lock, which protects the value of the old age pension for millions of older people in this country, is some kind of luxury which we will have to dispense with if the country is to be able to survive financially. This is a disgusting idea, and I must explain why. I don't have any personal stake in this, by the way. I do not yet draw my pension, but I am aware of people for whom it is their sole source of income. The old age pension, that is to say the full state pension, is currently £203.85 a week, or £10,600 a year. This is less than half that a person working a 40-hour week for the minimum wage would receive. It is not enough to live on, especially with prices soaring as they are. That's why a lot of pensioners are very poor and cannot afford both to eat and use electricity in their homes. Because under the present arrangement, the pension is guaranteed to rise either by the level of average wages or inflation, or 2.5% each year, whichever is the higher, the rising prices we have seen and the increased wages mean that in April the state pension will go up by about £800. In other words, it will maintain its value at a time of rising prices and high inflation. Here is a typical newspaper article about this situation from the Telegraph today. Just to be clear, the old age pension provides barely enough to live on, and many people on it find they cannot afford to heat their homes in the winter. The triple lock is designed to make sure that the value of the pension does not fall in real terms. That is to say, it stops pensioners getting any poorer. That £800 is not an increase, it's the amount that money that will have to be added to the pension to make sure it's buying the same as it now buys. Lord knows that £10,000 a year is poor enough these days, so keeping it in line with inflation seems to me to be only just. This piece, typical of many appearing lately, is headed, "It's time to be brave and tear up the triple lock." In other words, let's simply resign ourselves to the fact that pensioners should be allowed to grow poorer. The writer, this is the financial section of the Telegraph, says, "I am afraid the triple guarantee, whereby payments rise by the higher of wages, inflation, or 2.5%, is now too generous, and a brave politician needs to say so." Then he goes on, "What is the justification for pensions keeping pace with wages?" And it ends with this: "It may be good politics to stuff the pockets of already comfortable pensioners, but it's not good economics. It's stuffing the pockets of already comfortable pensioners." Does anybody watching this actually know any pensioners? Are there any pensioners watching this? Does anybody here know any real pensioners that are finding it a real struggle to get by on £203.85 a week? These are people who have worked all their lives and paid national insurance contributions, and now we're trying to cut corners with them and begrudge them a decent income during their final years. Compare this with the vast sums of money which we're happy to shell out for asylum seekers, more and more of whom arrive each day and are promptly accommodated rent-free in hotels, which cost us £7 million a day, or £2.5 billion a year. These are people who have never paid a penny in taxes or national insurance, and yet it's money no object where they're concerned. One can almost imagine the conversation at the Treasury about this. What's that? Maintain the real value of the pension by raising it by £800 a year? Are you mad? We can't fritter away money like that, you know. What's that? Another £2.5 billion for asylum seekers? Of course, where's my pen? I'll sign the cheque now. We don't want people to think we're racist, you know. This really isn't funny. This is an absolute scandal that we should be trying to cheat some of the poorest members of society who have contributed all their lives to this country. Try to say in the last years we're trying to cheat them out of a decent standard of living.